Hello friends, now let us start with the frequency domain analysis in the module 4. Previously in the previous modules and in the fourth module also in the previous topic we had discussed about the time response analysis of the control system, and as well as the time domain specification of second order control system was dealt in the module 3. Now we will go into the frequency response analysis. Using the root locus method, we analyze the system. We saw how we can analyze the system based on the different values of k, the gain or the system parameter, how the system is going to behave, how it will go from one state, from the stable state to the unstable state, how that is how the root locus or how the system behavior will change. That was on based on time analysis, time domain analysis. Now we will do, what we will do is frequency response or frequency domain analysis. Okay, introduction. The response of a system for sinusoidal input is called sinusoidal response. That is when we give a sinusoidal input to a system, and when we get a sinusoidal output, it is sinusoidal response. The ratio of sinusoidal response to the sinusoidal input is called sinusoidal transfer function. We know transfer function is nothing but response to input. Response is nothing but the output. So output to input is nothing but the transfer function. So sinusoidal response to sinusoidal input will be the sinusoidal transfer function. In frequency domain, the sinusoidal transfer function is also called as frequency domain transfer function. Okay, because here it is the j omega. Omega is the frequency. It is the frequency value. So the transfer function which is represented in omega can be also called as frequency domain transfer function. The frequency domain transfer function it is a function of complex, that is transfer function is a complex function of omega. It can be separated into, we have two, whenever we talk about the complex values, we have the magnitude as well as the phase for them. Suppose we are considering here, see this, whenever we talk about t of j omega, see here t of j omega, you have the magnitude component, okay, it is r comma theta. Any complex values will have a value r comma theta. You have this value, that is here you have t j omega, you have the t j omega as well as the angle component. It is like r comma theta. Okay, where this component, that is t, the magnitude of t j omega represents the real or the magnitude, and this is the angular part, phase part of it. Okay, the input, for input here, suppose your r of t input is a sine omega t plus theta, I can represent this as a comma a at an angle theta, where a will be the amplitude, okay, of the input, omega is the frequency, and theta will be the phase of the input. Can suppose for this input the response is c of t. For input r of t, output is c of t. Then here c of t will be equal to input into the j omega, the transfer function. What is transfer function? Transfer function is nothing but output by input. So what is output? Input into the transfer function. What is input? It is a into the angular, that is at an angle theta, into the transfer function, this value. Okay, you have to substitute this as well as this here. Now separate only the real part and the angular part, or the magnitude part and the angular part. Real part will be, we know how to write. If we have r1 comma, suppose something like this we have, uh, suppose we have like r1 at an angle, say I'll write it as theta 1 at an angle, say theta 1. I'll just write it as theta 1 plus, because I'm not able to write this side. Okay, otherwise we'll do one thing. We will write it here like this. Suppose we have R1, okay, at an angle theta 1 into R2 at an angle theta 2. Now how do we add these? It becomes R1 into R2, isn't it? This is R1 into R2. Then angle, how do we add the angles? Angle will be, it is theta 1 plus or minus, depending on theta 1 plus or minus theta 2. So like this we have to do. So here also A and these two, it is multiplied, whereas the angles are added. The angle component will be added. Okay, like then if suppose I can represent, we can represent this angle component. Okay, so this magnitude component. This magnitude component is represented as B. It is represented as B. Okay, and this theta, the phase component, full phase component, is represented by this phi value. Okay, the same thing is represented here using a system. Then so open loop transfer function G of S is nothing but it is the loop transfer function is open loop transfer function is G of S. It is when S is equal to j omega, it is j omega. Okay, and here the magnitude is the magnitude of j omega and angular part. It is like r comma r at an angle theta. So this is the magnitude and this is the angular part. A loop transfer function G of S into H of S, then similar to r comma r into, this is r1 into r2. Okay, then here angular part at an angle of, you have angular component from this as well as angular component from the H, that is the feedback. Similarly for closed loop, let the closed loop transfer function be represented by mj omega. This is very important, mj omega. Then we have the again the magnitude part as well as the angular part of the phase function, magnitude function and the phase function. Next, frequency, coming to the next is the frequency domain specification. In the third module, we dealt with the time domain specification. What was time domain? What were the time domain specification we had learned? We had learned peak overshoot, rise time, decay time, the settling time. So all these were the time domain specification. Similar to that in time domain, we also have specifications in frequency domain. That is a resonant frequency, peak resonant value, bandwidth, cutoff frequency. All these are the frequency domain specification. What is resonant peak? The maximum value or maximum magnitude of closed loop transfer function is called the resonant peak. This value, see this value is called the resonant peak. This value, this is the resonant peak. And resonant frequency is what? The frequency at which this maximum peak comes is called the resonant frequency. And what is bandwidth? Say this is the value at, this is the value at say 1, okay, or at initial condition at when the frequency is 0. The that is bandwidth is the frequency at which the output reduces to 70% of its initial value. When it starts, there will be some initial value. When it starts, there will be some initial value, this value. The frequency at which the output, okay, this is called the M, the response, I can write it as M J omega. The output reaches the 70%. Where is the 70% here? The frequency, what is the difference? And what will be the difference here? It is 0 minus this, okay? So it is, suppose this frequency is say some omega B, okay, omega B. Then omega B minus 0, omega B minus 0, okay, will be equal to omega B. That is the bandwidth of the system. You can see here the resonant frequency at which the resonant peak occurs is called resonant frequency. Bandwidth, it is defined as the frequency at which this magnitude or the output drops to 70% or 70.7% of or minus 3 dB down from its zero frequency value. Okay, it is like it is a range of frequency for which the normalized value means with respect to a value, it is with respect to a standard value or reference sample value with respect to a reference value of the system is more than minus 3 dB. With minus 3 dB, if I look into this, the gain reduces by 3 dB. Okay, this is 1 dB, this is 0 dB. It is reducing by 3 dB. This value here, okay, this value, this difference will be referred as minus 3. The whatever frequency, whatever gain you have from here to here, before it reduces through 3 dB, this is 3 dB, whatever gain you have, that range of frequency will be called as the bandwidth. It is called as the bandwidth. Okay, cutoff rate. The slope of the log magnitude curve near the cutoff frequency is called the cutoff frequency. This is cutoff. Okay, it is called the cutoff frequency. Then gain margin. There is something called gain margin and phase margin. As we do the Bode plot, you will know. Okay, the gain margin is defined as value of gain that should be added to the system in order to bring the system to the verge of instability. Okay, and phase margin is defined as the additional phase lag to be added to the gain crossover frequency in order to bring the system to the verge of instability. These two we will see as we do the Bode plot. There is something called phase and gain margin, which is very important, which defines the system stability. Next, coming to the frequency domain specification of second order system. We already know what is second order system. Okay, second order means when you have S square on the denominator, it is a second order. Now we have the derivations regarding all those specifications that we just went through. The first one is resonant peak or MR. Consider a closed loop transfer function of second order. This will be the this we have already seen. It is omega n whole square divided by s square plus 2 zeta omega n s plus omega n whole square. The sinusoidal transfer function, that is here, if I have to replace s by j omega, okay, complex frequency, s is j omega, a complex frequency, omega is the complex frequency. Here then you can replace s here, this becomes j omega whole square. Okay, this is j omega. Here this value, what does it become here? This is j omega here. This is nothing but, if I'm writing here, I have to write, this is j omega whole square. Okay, it is j omega whole square, j omega whole square, then this becomes 2 zeta omega n j omega, then omega n. Okay, then the next, now what is j square is minus 1. So now after this, the next step, come to the next step. Now we'll see the next step. It is omega n whole square. Omega n whole square you take out outside. Okay, see from this equation you have omega n here, we have omega n here. Take out omega n whole square outside, you get omega square divided by omega n whole square plus 2j zeta omega by omega n plus 1. Okay, now let normalized frequency u equal to omega by omega n. As I said, what is normalized frequency? Normalized frequency means it is the reference. With respect to reference, if I have a frequency, if I'm taking a frequency, see this is omega, that is this is omega will be range of frequency, omega n is a frequency sampling at a particular value. If I take with respect to a particular sample, then that is normalized frequency. With respect to something, you can take normalizing a value means taking with respect to, comparing it with respect to, if I say, for example, if I have a value of around 80, say 90, it can be any value, some x value. Okay, some suppose we have say x1, say x1 is equal to 90, and this I take it as 1. Then suppose there is x2 which is equal to 80. This with respect to 1 I can write it as 0.9. Similarly, if there is an x3 which is equal to 75, with respect to 1, with respect to the first one, I can write it as 0.85. 0.85 like this. So it is with respect to the first one, I'm standardizing the other values. So that is normalizing. I'm trying to relate it to a particular value. So normalized frequency is with respect to omega 1, the frequency. So let it be u is omega by omega n. Now substitute here for these values, omega u here. Then when you substitute, you finally you get this. Okay, let m be the magnitude for, let this here, this is the complex value will have a real part and the angular part. So let the magnitude part, real part means the angular part, magnitude part, let it be m. So the magnitude of mj omega, okay, will be equal to the magnitude of this one. It has to be the magnitude of this function. So how do we get the magnitude? How are we representing it? This is equal to what? How can I write this? I can write this as this. I can write it as 1 divided by x plus jy. How do I get the real magnitude of this? How to get the magnitude? If it is x plus jy, we have magnitude of this is got by square root of L square, isn't it? It is x square plus y square. So same thing here we will do. The magnitude of this is got by, see, square root of, here we have the square root. This represents nothing but the square root of x square. This is x square and this represents y square. So see, this is representing x square and this is representing y square. Y square, x square. It is x square and y square. Then now take the inverse of this. Mine it is 1 by half means it has become, when it goes up, it represents what? It represents minus half. So now continue this. So this becomes half when it goes up. Okay, when this goes up, it becomes minus. Yeah, when this half goes up, it becomes minus half. And the angle, how do we get? It is tan inverse y by x, isn't it? It is tan inverse y by x. This is the y part and this represents the y part and this is the x part. Okay, at resonance, okay, at resonance, we'll have to find out at what will be the peak value. Peak value is maximum value. So at resonance, the peak maximum value will be more, and you can get it by differentiating it with respect to u. U is what? Frequency. So you get maximum value to particular frequency. So you differentiate that value with respect to frequency and equate it to 0. Okay, and at what value we'll get the maximum? At some particular normalized resonant frequency. Okay, it is at UR. What was U? What was U? U was nothing but, what was U? U here, it is omega by omega n. UR will be omega R by omega n. A particular value. Okay, it is at particular value. So now differentiate the m value, the magnitude. Okay, differentiate this magnitude value with respect to u. First differentiate it with respect to u and equate it to 0. You get this value. Now replace u by ur, because it is at that particular frequency that we are getting the the peak value or the resonant value. At that resonant, we have studied in the network. At resonance, the value, the output will be maximum. So let that value be ur. Now substitute wherever you have u, you can substitute it as ur. And finally, we derive ur is equal to root of 1 minus 2 eta whole square. Okay. Then at ur, that is at ur, the m will be mr. Okay. So from 1, that is, where was equation 1? This was equation 1 here. We have equation 1. Substituting the value for ur was what? 1 minus 2 zeta whole square. Your u value, for the u value, whatever u value you have to substitute ur here. Substitute ur here. Okay. Substitute ur. Finally, your resonant peak mr will be 2 zeta whole square 1 minus zeta whole square. So now next is resonant frequency. ur. We got ur. This is the third equation. Ur is root of 1 minus 2 zeta whole square. So this is the normalized resonant frequency, which is omega r divided by omega n. So therefore omega r resonant frequency is omega n into the 1 minus 2 zeta n. Okay. Then what is omega n? You remember what is omega n? Here omega n will come in the time domain analysis. Okay. You had the value of omega n, then we had zeta. All those values were in the time response. So do we remember what is the value of n? Omega. Omega n is what? It is the natural frequency. Omega n represents the natural frequency of the system. Okay. Then next is bandwidth. Normalized bandwidth with respect to something. Omega b by omega n is the normalized bandwidth. Now let us find out now, that is, what is the this one definition for bandwidth. That is, definition says the magnitude or the response of the system should come down by 70%, or when the output becomes 70%. Means what? When will the output, what is being 70%? It is nothing but 1 by root 2. Okay. We know that half power frequency, when the output comes down to that half power frequency, 1 by root 2 value, 1 by root 2 is nothing but 0.707. So it is 70.7%. Okay. So when the magnitude comes down to that value, that is the two values, that we get a bandwidth. So now take the magnitude here. Okay. From the equation 1, wherever you have u, substitute it as ub. Then what is now equate here also, it is root of, this is nothing but, this represents what? Root of, this is also representing root of. Half here means this half represents root of. So this root and this root cancels, or this 1 by 2 will cancel. Okay. And then you have equate, that is denominator, equate these two values in the denominator. Then you find the value. You get this expression. Okay. It is converted to a quadratic expression. Take a variable ub square is as x, and you substitute here, it becomes x square. Here it represents as x. Now find the expression for x using your equation, that is b square plus or minus, it is minus b plus or minus b square minus 4ac. So using that expression, you find the value of x. Okay, you get this. And now what is here? If x is equal to ub square, then what is ub? Ub will be root of x. So ub will be nothing but root of this x value. So ub is root of this x value. But what is ub? Normalized bandwidth. omega b into omega n. Omega n is the natural frequency. Okay, undamped natural frequency, which is going on oscillating. That is undamped frequency means that natural frequency of the system. So then what is omega b? Omega n into ub. Multiply, you get the bandwidth. This is the expression for bandwidth. Then you have the phase margin. Okay, phase margin, as I said, it is a value which should be added to make the system to be at the verge of instability. So here you just go through. This is the derivation that we have. Okay, and when we talk about the Bode plot again, we will know what is the phase margin. Now just consider the open loop transfer function. G of s is omega n whole square into s divided by s into s plus 2 zeta s plus 2 zeta omega n. Okay, then here substitute s equal to the complex frequency j omega, then take out omega n outside. Finally, when you do this, okay, finally you get that is substituting the normalized frequencies values, you get the magnitude of the open loop and the phase of the open loop. Okay, then it is the, again you have to find the normalized gain crossover. So normalized gain crossover will be when this, that is when you're substituting uh, u as ugc, and omega will be omega gc by omega n. Now substitute here u as ugc and you find the value, that is here when you do it, it should be equal to, the magnitude should be equal to 1. Okay, that is important. At the phase margin, the magnitude will be 1. Then from this you get the value of UGC, that is as UGC will be root of minus 2 zeta whole square plus root of 4 zeta to the power of 4 plus 1. Okay, so this is the phase margin. Next, correlation between the time and frequency domain. This we have, that is we take the uh, transfer function of the second order system, then replace s by j omega, then finally the omega n, omega by omega n can be written as u. So finally we get the magnitude, that is this is a magnitude value, m is representing the magnitude. Magnitude value will be x square plus y square under the root. Okay, when now looking at this, when u value is equal to 0, when u is 0, okay, magnitude will be equal to 1, and when u is infinity, magnitude will be 0. Next, coming to the phase, phase is nothing but tan inverse y by x. Okay, then resonant peak, we have derived this resonant peak value and the resonant frequency value. Comparing this, okay, when zeta equal to 0, this is important, when zeta equal to 0, zeta is what, damping ratio, damping factor. Okay, in the system, when the damping factor is damping coefficient, all this represents the zeta. When it is 0, we see that when it is 0, this value goes to 0. 2 zeta whole square is 0. So omega r is nothing but omega n, and the resonant peak will be equal to infinity. Okay, it will be very high, maximum. Resonant frequency is the natural frequency, that is peak, it will have maximum energy. Then from 4, which is equation 4, that is resonant frequency omega r, when the value under the root is 0, then omega r will be 0, that is there will be no resonant frequency. When will that happen? When zeta is 1 by root 2, or when zeta is 0.707. Okay, so you will have a resonant frequency when zeta is 0, and where you will not have a resonant frequency when this value goes to 0. Okay, when that is when this value, sorry, that is when zeta is 1 by root 2. So your resonant frequency should lie between that, that is it should be greater than 0 and it should be less than 1 by root 2. So if you should have a resonance in the system, your damping ratio, damping coefficient should be greater than 0, but it should be less than 1 by root 2, so that you will have a resonant frequency. Okay, then the resonant frequency always has a value less than omega n. In that condition, it will be less than omega n. At 0, it is equal to omega n, but as the value of zeta increases, the value, if you can substitute here and see, okay, in this expression, as this value increases, the value under the root goes on decreasing, hence omega r goes on decreasing. Okay, and the maximum value will be, it can be, that is omega n. Okay, then the peak value, that is the resonant peak value, the maximum value it can have is 1. It cannot have any more than 1. Okay, then later on has the u value, that is depending on the u value. As u value decreases, see, when u was 0, it was 1. As u increase, the magnitude decreases. So resonant peak will decrease. Okay, it will be, yeah, it will only have a value greater than, it will have a value, maximum value is 1. The resonant frequencies are not defined. You cannot have a resonant frequency for zeta greater than 1 by root 2. Why? If a value goes more than that value, your negative sign will be more, and a negative sign becomes more under the root, then you will have an imaginary. There is no imaginary resonant frequencies. Okay. Therefore, because you cannot have resonant imaginary resonant frequencies, for something greater than 1 by root 2, it is not at all defined. So anything less than that only has to be considered. Greater than 0, less than 1 by root 2. Okay. Then from 1, uh, if this value, that is if the value goes greater than root 2, the zeta value, m goes on decreasing as u increases, and there is no resonant peak, and the maximum value will be 1. Okay. The greatest value of m will be equal to 1. As this increases, the magnitude will be 0. Only that is here, this is 1 and 0. Between that only you will have a magnitude. Okay. The frequency at which the magnitude will be equal to 1 by root 2 is called the cutoff frequency, omega c. This is the final note. Okay. See, that is resonant peak response corresponds to the resonant peak, that is MR corresponds to the large maximum overshoot in time domain. We had MP in time domain, that is similar to MR here in frequency domain. Okay, the maximum overshoot of a step unit function in time domain depends upon zeta. And here also the resonant, that is MR also, here if you see, MR also, it depends upon the resonant here. See, it depends upon zeta. MP was also dependent on MP value. Do you remember? The MP value was also dependent on the, we had an MP value, peak overshoot, that was also dependent on the zeta value. Here, the MR value, it is also dependent on the peak value, that is nothing but it was E minus eta pi divided by 1 minus divided by root of 1 minus zeta whole square. So it is also, there also it was dependent on zeta. In frequency domain also it is dependent on zeta. Next, the bandwidth is the indication of the quickness of response. How quick the system responds depends on the bandwidth. Larger bandwidth indicates faster response. How do you show that now? Suppose I have a frequency, that is, suppose I have something like this. Larger bandwidth means how? If I have something like this, okay, if I have something like this, it is larger bandwidth. Suppose I have something like this, then which is having more bandwidth, this has more bandwidth, whereas this has lesser bandwidth. Which has quick response, which reaches the 90% more, this one. So more bandwidth means quick response. Okay, then Rise time increases with zeta and the bandwidth decreases with increase in zeta. Okay, because how will that is rise time increases with the zeta means what? Rise time means what? That is slower rise time means the response is slower. Quicker rise time. If rise time increases means what? Your TR increases means what does it mean? Your TR, if TR is increasing, if TR is increasing means what? TR is more means what? Which will have more TR. Now suppose I have a output something like this. Okay, this is the, say we have something like this, which is having more TR. This will have just this respond, it will have more TR compared to this. So more TR means more means the raise time is less. Raise time is less means bandwidth is less. Okay, therefore bandwidth and raise time are inversely proportional to each other. Raise time more means bandwidth is less, raise time less means bandwidth is less. Raise time is more means bandwidth will be less. Raise time is less means bandwidth will be more. Bandwidth is directly proportional to the omega and inversely proportional to raise time. Okay. Then higher bandwidth corresponds to larger MP. Okay. It is MP is nothing but the peak overshoot. If you have more OP overshoot, it responds to higher bandwidth. Okay. We can just have a look at the this one. See, has the zeta value. This is the zeta value is increasing. MP, the that is the overshoot value goes on decreasing. What is MP here? What does it MP? It is the resonant peak. Okay, MP represents the resonant peak goes on decreasing. And also the resonant, that is omega p, that is the resonant frequency or the value at this MP normalized frequency, normalized resonant frequency, it is omega r or your omega p, it is also decreasing with the damping ratio. So as damping ratio increases, as the damping ratio or zeta increases, the resonant peak decreases, the resonant frequency decreases, as well as the bandwidth will also decrease. So this is about the correlation between the frequency domain and the time domain. Next, we will continue in the next class.